Hello and welcome to the Smells Like Infinite Sadness podcast. I'm your host, Michael Taylor. For those of you who don't know, I run the website, smellslikeinfinitesadness.com. It's a blog covering the best alternative rock from the 80s and 90s up to present day. I'm a proud middle-aged Gen Xer who is still obsessed with the music of his youth and loves to talk about it. And today I'll be speaking to Emily Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh is a vocalist from the LA electronic duo Nightclub, which is a very unique mix of industrial, darkwave, and pop music. Nightclub recently released their sophomore effort entitled Scary World, and they're getting ready to start a new fall tour of The Perfect Circle, starting next week. So this week's episode, I got to chat with Emily about her thoughts about the new album, her expectations for the upcoming tour, and more plans for 2018 and beyond. So sit back and enjoy. All right, well, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. First question I had was, I know you're going to open up for A Perfect Circle, which is a pretty big, that's a pretty great bill with you and Tricky and Perfect Circle. So did the band approach you for that, or how did that come about?
So their management got in touch with us back in May because they had a band drop off for a few dates, and they wanted to know if we could fill in and do the shows. So we were like, yeah, of course. So we did 2 shows with them back in May. I think it was Minneapolis, I think was one of them, I think I'm butchering the cities right now, but Omaha and I think somewhere near Minneapolis. And so we did these 2 days with them, and they were great. And it was right before we went on the Combi Christ tour in May. And it was literally a few days before we started the other tour, so it was kind of a scramble. And we found out that we were getting these 2 shows with APC the week before they happened. So we were asked a week before, and we were and we were finishing a video at the time. We were preparing to go on this other tour, and so we were well, we got to do it. I mean, of course, we're not going to say no. And they were these 2 arena shows, and we're well, we've never done an arena show, so of course we got to do it, and we love APC. And and they, it went over really well, better than we thought. And so when they needed an opener for the fall tour, they asked us, and then we start next Saturday.
That's going to be awesome. I think it's really a good choice because they've kind of gotten into more of electronic vein in the new albums. I think it'll be a good pairing, especially with you and Tricky as well. So that's a great triple bill.
Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting lineup. I think it's maybe a little different than what they've done in the past for opening bands. And I think it's cool that they're diversifying a little bit. I think Tricky's opened up for Tool in the past too. So.
Yeah, he did. And I remember I went to go see him, and I got stuck in traffic, and I missed him. So maybe.
Oh no.
Yes, maybe this time it'll all work out. So I think it's a great triple bill. So I guess, what are your expectations for that? What are you most excited about that? And I mean, have you really kind of planned ahead as far as what you're planning as far as a set list and how you're going to?
Yeah. Oh God, I mean, we look at these arena shows we're just playing a 100-person club. We go out there and perform the same way. I think for so long we've been performing, we're performing in an arena, but just in a small stage. So I think we've kind of trained ourselves, for this kind of tour. When we perform, we're only 2 people, but we kind of take over the entire stage and kind of play more like a rock band almost, as opposed to just a 2-person electronic band.
Uh-huh.
We like to have a lot of energy, and I think it translates well to an arena, I hope. So, it's really no difference in terms of how we actually play. But, set list, I think it's, probably a 20 to 25 minute set. So we're still, the majority of the set is probably going to be from our new record, Scary World, and maybe a couple older ones too. But so we're still planning the set. We're going to rehearse a little bit before we leave next week. And, we're just hoping to reach as many new people as possible. I mean, it's kind of a new audience for us. For the most part, we play with a lot of more underground kind of goth industrial bands.
Uh-huh.
So I think this is our first kind of real foray into a more kind of mainstream audience, which we're really excited about.
Well, I really like the new album a lot. I've been listening to quite a bit in preparation for the interview.
Oh, thank you.
And what I like about it is you've got these mix of these kind of industrial elements, but also these kind of pop undertones. And it's a really nice marriage, I think, of melody and that kind of dissonance. But, it's songs like Blood on Your Blade and Candy Coated Suicide. So how do you feel this differs from your previous album, Requiem for a Romance? Did you have a certain creative process this time around, or how did the album come about when you were in the creative stages?
I think when we first started writing this record, we really wanted to make it about something lyrically, and we really pushed ourselves harder lyrically on this record. In Requiem, it was a personal record. Like Dear Enemy was like a really personal song for us, and that one kind of connected more with people, I think, because it was about something really real. So it was about something that happened to us, and we were really emotional when we were writing it, and we kind of wanted to take that into the new record and just really focus on making each song about something lyrically that was really personal to us and really real. So I think sonically it's pretty similar to Requiem, but lyrically I think we went in a new direction with it, which I'm really happy about and I'm proud of, because every song really is about something in our lives, and it's about mental illness. It's about, anxiety, depression, LA, living in LA and how harsh the city can be, and, how scary it is politically right now, and hence the title Scary World. So, I would say that was the biggest leap on this new record was our lyrical content and the theme of the record.
Yeah, and that's, I was kind of going, that's where I was headed when you mentioned the kind of the state of the world right now. It is, I think this is a very timely album because it is, I mean, life is always stressful. We go through these periods where there's political upheaval, but this seems like, in recent years, it's been, I think, the worst it's ever been for anybody who's, of a certain age. It's just been very, very stressful. And I think it's you kind of hit a nerve in that regard. So I think that's a really cool aspect of the album. Were there any current events in particular that inspired anything, or was it you just kind of stuck it more personal and didn't want to telegraph too much information and leave it kind of mysterious in the eyes of the listener? Or
exactly, when we write, we kind of like to keep it. Obviously it's very personal, but we kind of like to keep it vague, so it's up to the listener to kind of relate it to their own lives, and I think it's more powerful that way, because they can listen to a song and interpret the lyrics as they see fit, and it can affect them in different ways, and everyone's different. So yeah, I say we kind of shied away from anything super specific, but I would say the record is definitely. It's weird. It's about, we wanted to make it about the scary world really inside of us and outside of us, however you want to interpret that. But yeah, I guess that answers it.
But what I like about it too is that even though it is, dealing with stuff like that, you've got songs like, Survive and Therapy, which, I mean, I think it's not, I wouldn't call it a defeatist album. I think you've kind of got more, it's almost like a light at the end of the tunnel kind of a thing. Am I right on that aspect? It's kind of, was a therapeutic process for y'all when you wrote this album, in addition to?
Yes, for sure. Yeah. And, we kind of, I wouldn't say it's a concept album, but it's kind of a concept record where it kind of just, it's almost like the voyage of, it starts out like you're talking to someone who's young and maybe coming up and like just be aware of these things in the world and this is what happens to you in life, and, through anxiety, depression, people wronging you, and at the end it's like, in a song like Survive, it's like, you can be down and you could be fucked up and whatever, but it really, you just have to survive it. You have to get through it. And so, I think it has an optimism at the end. I like to think that, it's a little optimistic, even though a lot of the album is kind of pessimistic and kind of sad. And, But, you know, it's like all this shit happens to you, and, you know, you just have to get through it. You just have to survive. And, you know, I'd say that's, you know, maybe we were telling ourselves that, you know, like, and Survive was actually written in, like, we had the instrumental for a while, but lyrically, and it was mixed and recorded in less than 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
Because we were trying to finish the record, and we kind of had a deadline. So we wanted to get it done before the Combi Craze tour. So we were getting it done, and the lyrics were written. I recorded it that night, and Mark mixed it all night. So yeah, less than 24 hours for that song, which is pretty crazy. Well, stressful.
But in a good way, I guess, kind of getting your focusing on everything.
Yeah, it just forced us to be like, all right, this is it. This is the song. You know, we have no more time to spend on it. This is it. And I think it turned out pretty good. I hope.
Oh, I think so. I think it's great.
Thank you.
And I was also going to add, did you find this time around, I mean, I know this is your second album, so did you feel more confident in your vocals in this album? Did you explore anything different as far as your vocal approach or?
No, I mean, I think I'm just naturally getting more confident as I go. You know, we started this in like 2012, and we did 3 EPs, kind of just early EPs when we were first starting out. And I really had no confidence in myself at all. Like, I thought I just sucked. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never been in a band. Like, we originally started this band, like, to maybe try to write songs for other people and sell songs to other people. And I had no intentions of ever being a singer, ever. Like, I just had zero confidence in myself, didn't really know what I was doing in life. And I was just like, you know, who am I? And so, like, in the early recordings, I can listen now and be like, yeah, I was not confident singing these words and saying these things. And I could just hear it in my voice. I just wasn't there yet as a performer.
Mm-hmm.
And Requiem, I think, was a step up from that. But I really think that I developed into who I am, like, through making this record. Like, I could definitely hear more of a confidence in how I deliver lines and how I deliver lyrics and words. And so yeah, I'm getting better as we go on. I would say I'm getting stronger. I'm getting more like, okay, like I'm a singer now. Like, I can, you know, and we try to write songs more that kind of push me, like almost more of like I have like an R&B-ness to my voice, which we've been exploring a little bit more in these past couple records.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of just varying the way we're writing top line a little bit. But yeah, I'm getting there.
And I really like the Candy Coated Suicide video as well. I thought it was really kind of fun.
Oh, thank you.
Nice and twisted kind of visuals to that. And I know that Mark Brooks,
mm-hmm.
he does, I see, does he come up with the concepts by himself, or do you collaborate as far as when you do a video, or how does that conceptual process come?
Mark does literally everything for all of the videos. He comes up with the concepts. He storyboard. He works in animation. So he directed a show called Metalocalypse, like when that was on. So he is just a really talented director. And you know, he works in animation. That's like his job. And so he comes up with the concepts. He storyboards everything. So he comes up with all the shots even before we shoot it. Then he takes the camera, he shoots the videos, he like sets up the green screen if we use a green screen. He's built the set for the Candy video. He hired the Craigslist bunny actors that we had. Like, he literally does everything, and he edits them. So he's just a super talented guy. Yeah, he's way more talented than me in every aspect of making these videos. But he really is, the guy for this, and I'm thankful I'm in a band with him.
Well, I was wondering too, since he has a background, in visuals, TV and film.
Yeah.
I think that your sound too, in a way, has some kind of cinematic overtones. Do you ever talk in terms of like, I don't know, inspired by film or TV when you write music at all, or is that ever kind of factor into everything?
I would say more for just like the look of the videos. We're inspired by films and TV and other videos, but in terms of like writing music, it all just comes from a personal place, and the shit that happens in our lives. Not really inspired by film and TV and making the music, but the videos for sure are definitely inspired by, and we always have like an inspiration video that we use. Like, I think for our first video, it was a song Love Struck. It was like our first single that came out in like 2012. We used the Danzig Mother video as like an inspiration, like
nice.
black and white, kind of like harsh like shadows and contrast, but it never really looks like the original video that we're modeling it off of. But we just like to have kind of an inspiration going into making the videos.
Perfect. Yeah, I can have to go back and check out that video now so I can see the parallels. Because it
doesn't really look like it, but it was inspired by it.
I'm a big Danzig fan, unapologetically, so I have to go check that out. I got to.
Mark worked with Glenn on the Danzig Legacy video that like came out like a few years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I've met Glenn a few times. He came to one of our shows one time. I was very excited about it.
Yeah, it's funny because he has such a reputation.
Yeah.
But I actually talked to him on the phone. He was actually laughing when I interviewed him. So I was like, Danzig laughs. This is great. I was like, I got him on a good night. So I was.
No, he's like a super funny, nice dude. I just think he gets like bad rap sometimes.
I do too.
Maybe he takes himself a little seriously sometimes, but in the public. But when you know him, he's very like jovial and cool and nice dude.
Absolutely. Well.
Yeah.
So I guess my next question is, once this tour winds down, what do you all have planned next? Do you have anything else in mind as far as more tours this year once this wraps up, or any more videos? Or
we're definitely going to make more videos, because literally whenever we go on tour, like we went on some European tour with Combi Christ back this summer, and everyone who came to the shows, like in Poland, Hungary, Austria, like they all find out about us through YouTube. Like literally everyone was like, saw your videos on YouTube, came to the show, wanted to see you guys. So we're like, shit, I guess YouTube is like kind of our main, hub. So we want to make as many videos as possible, because I think that's what's getting our band out there internationally, which is really cool. So we're definitely going to make more videos. We want to do a spring tour. We're not sure yet how that's going to go down. We eventually maybe want to do like some headlining shows. So maybe like kind of like a mini headlining tour at some point, hopefully this spring or summer. And we're probably going to start writing again. After we finish a record, we like to take like a few months to just not do anything, just not do shit, just to not burn ourselves out. But probably in 2019, we're going to start writing again and hopefully have another record out by like 2020 or whatever. So, but definitely the goal is to make more videos and tour more next year.
So you're talking about how YouTube is one of your big ways of marketing yourself. I mean, I know the music industry is so different now than it used to be, and I know that you weren't necessarily in a band back in that era. But how much work do you all spend as far as like getting the word out, trying to get the the viral video? How much of a hustle is that for y'all? Just in making the music, you have to really market yourself. In this day and age, you can't really rely on a record label to do that for you anymore.
I know. Well, we're not even signed to a label, so we do everything ourselves. I mean, it's a fucking lot of work. I mean, these videos take us a lot of time. Mark stresses himself out making them. Like, it's like, they're not easy, and we want to, every time we make a video, like how is this video going to be different than the other 12 we've made or whatever? It's like, how are we going to keep pushing it, in a new direction? What is this concept going to be? What is it going to look like? Like, just to keep it interesting, because the last thing I want is like, we have 20 videos and they all look the same and they all, you know what I mean? So it's like, you want to keep it interesting. I mean, it's not easy for an independent band, but I think it's more rewarding in the long run. It's like we own all of our own stuff, and we're getting on tours, and we're just owning our shit, and we put things out when we want to put them out. We don't have to rely on anyone else, and there's no other voice in this band. It's just me and Mark. And so, I'm sure being on a label has its benefits for sure, but, in terms of like, you have a team helping you, you're getting on Spotify playlists or whatever, but, I think it's definitely rewarding in its own way to just be a DIY band right now. And it's just, it's better if you're a DIY. It's like you can just, make a record and just put it up yourself. You don't have to rely on anyone thinking it's good enough or whatever, putting it out for you. It's like I want to put it out on this date, so you go ahead and put it out on that date, Like there's no one else controlling you.
Or taking your money or anything like that.
Or taking your money, exactly. Or like, I don't like this record. I'm gonna shelve it, or go back and do some rewrites, or work with this other producer. It's like we just do everything ourselves. It's just the two of us the whole way. So I don't know. It has its pros and cons for sure, but we're making it work.
You're opening for a perfect circle. I'd say you're making it work pretty well. So I think it's a pretty it's a pretty good milestone right there to kind of show you.
Yeah, we're doing okay. Yeah, we're doing all right.
Well, I think that covers all my questions. Is there anything else you wanted to add as far as telling the fans anything else to look out for? I know you mentioned that some spring tours and all that, but anything else you wanted to mention or?
No, I mean just our new record's called Scary World, and it's online everywhere, and come see us on tour with A Perfect Circle. It'll be crazy because we're going to be on these arena stages, and I'm probably going to be nervous as shit before we play, but I get very bad anxiety before shows.
Yeah.
But like I'm the worst. I feel like I'm going to throw up before every show.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think once you get out there and kind of hear the crowd, I think it moves past pretty quick though, right? Once you kind of get that initial.
Oh yeah, like the moment I step out and like I'm completely fine, but literally like I'm in a fucking ball before we go on. Like I'm so scared. I think everyone's gonna hate me. I'm just like I'm so nervous. And so like these shows are like before when we did the APC shows back in May, like I just remember like we were at the airport, we were flying to the first city, and I was just like. I couldn't eat. I was just like, I felt like I was going to die. And then like we get there and it's like this giant arena, and our dressing room is like a men's like basketball locker room. There's like 20 showers in it. I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. And it just, of course, made me even more nervous. But, I got out there and we did it, and it was great. And, yeah. It's worth it. You have to power through that shit. It's worth it.
Well, I can't wait to see you guys next week. I mean, I guess the week after next. So I'm excited. To
check. Yeah, the Austin show, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to checking that out.
Have you been to that venue? Is it cool?
I have been to that venue. It's interesting because it's also a racetrack. It's where they used to do Formula One.
Whoa.
So they spent all this money doing Formula One, then they quit doing Formula One, so they had to find something else to do with the venue. So now it's become a big concert venue. But yeah, I've seen Deftones there, and I've seen Depeche Mode there. So yeah. So it's a nice. They can fit a lot of people in there. It's got a good viewpoint and everything, and the stage is nice. So I think it's a good, especially for bigger bands. It's I think a good venue for Perfect Circle for sure. So I think
that's awesome. We can't wait. I'm so excited.
Great. But thanks so much for talking to me today. I appreciate
it. Awesome.
And
thank you, Michael. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I look forward to seeing you guys in Austin.
Yes, me too.
All right. Well, you have a great day. Thank you so much.
You too. Bye, dude. Bye.
Okay, bye. A big thanks to Emily for taking the time out to chat today. It's a pleasure getting to chat with her. You can buy the band's new album, Scary World, via the group's Bandcamp page at nightclubband.com. You can buy Perfect Circle tickets with nightclub opening if you visit perfectcircle.com-home-tour dates. And we're going to close out today's show with a track off the band's new album. It is Candy Coated Suicide. So we're going to close out with that. Check it out. I think you'll dig it. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.
You're so sweet. You're my candy-coated suicide. Don't know what's wrong with me, but the temptation is stronger than me. Don't know what's wrong with me, but the temptation is stronger than me. Don't know what's wrong with me, but the temptation is stronger than me. Don't know what's wrong with me.
Don't know what's wrong with me.
Tell me why have you fucked up inside, and you're so sweet that I want to die. Tell me why have you fucked up inside, and you're so sweet that I want to die. Tell me why have you fucked up inside, and you're so sweet that I want to die. Tell me why have you fucked up inside, and you're so sweet that I want to die. Candy-coated suicide. You're my candy-coated suicide. You're my candy-coated suicide. You're my candy-coated suicide. Suicide.